Hello and welcome to amipal, the #1 place on the internet for the sweetest Amiga content. I've got Worms Director's Cut. This isn't a new addition for me. You've seen this game, this rather dusty game, on this channel before. My brother and I were actually some of the rare people who actually bought this game on release. I think there were only about 3,000 copies sold. You should have all bought it, frankly. It's the best version of Worms that there is, and that goes for the modern iterations as well. The reason I'm making this episode today is because of custom levels. You see, Worms, I've put it back there, now I need hold of it again. Worms is infinitely customizable. It's not just about team names, it's not about copying over new sound samples for it. There's the graffiti mode for Worms Director's Cut where you can draw your own levels, you can create your own landscape tiles, but I'm actually going to talk about custom levels where you actually draw the entire landscape and then pop it through a little program and it spits out a wonderful 2-layer custom landscape for you to play over and destroy. So let's have a look at how that's done. Right, all of this is done via Workbench. Okay, so first of all we're going to P-Paint or Deluxe Paint, whatever bitmap editor you prefer. I'll just load up the image. Now you'll notice I've got WHD load in the games here. These are ones that have WHD load slaves. These are ones where they're just installed on the hard drive. So before anyone asks any questions. So I'm going to go in here to the Worms DC TW custom one. You can actually see these WRM16 files. That just implies that they're 16 colour images. But I've tried to move the ones that I'm using for custom landscapes into a subdirectory called IFFs. Okay, so this is one I created earlier in true Blue Peter fashion. You'll notice there's a uhive.wrm16 and a uhive_bg WRM16. So you can create a foreground and a background, each of 16 colours, but they have to share the same palette, and I'll go over some of those restrictions in a second. Now you can see from here, selected image is 960 by 350. That is the resolution that you need to set for your image in order for it to be accepted by the conversion program. And you know, that allows you to scroll over 3 screens in a low res screen mode. Okay, so here's my uhive file. Oh, that scrolls horribly, doesn't it, when you do it like this? So this is the foreground. This is what your worms will walk over, okay? This is what your worms will shoot at and into, what will get destroyed. This is what will block your shots from hitting enemy worms, okay? So this detail here, I've kind of got like this refuse chute that comes down from the top of the screen out to the bottom. But if you were standing here, for instance, and you tried to shoot a worm here, it would hit against it. You can't walk over this. You can just walk on top of it as such. So yeah, this is my foreground. I'll get back into the top left hand corner now. I'm just going to switch to the spare with J. So just in case anyone doesn't know what I just did there, both Deluxe Paint and P-Paint have what's called a spare screen. Effectively allows you to have 2 images open at the same time. You can copy one image to the spare, keep it as a backup in case you need to bring it back to the front, you know, work with a backup for you if you need to, or you can have a completely different image. In this case, I've put the spare as the background. As you can see, I'm using different colours because when you blow up the landscape, you want to ensure that there's something showing through from the other side that looks different. Yeah, you don't want it to be the same. This has no effect on your worms or your shots, okay? So worms don't walk over this, they only walk over the foreground image. So any of this here, for instance, if you shoot through I don't think, no, it doesn't. If you were to shoot through this on the foreground, you'd be able to walk through it, even though this would then show in the background. Although, there's a setting that allows you to also destroy part of the background if weapon explosions are big enough. Yeah, so all of this stuff that I've kind of got hanging down just to add a bit of interest, like this, this pulley and hook, and this ladder and these rusty rungs, they won't block any shots. They're just there for background interest to make it look interesting. Similarly with this door here, this is the idea that you've got a tunnel here and the door's open so that they can walk through. That door won't block any shot. So go back into top left hand corner there. So that's the background, that's the foreground. Background, foreground, background, foreground. Okay, good. Now, when you save these, I should probably talk about palette, shouldn't I? So the palette, here we go, 16 colours. Colour 0 is the background, and as is traditional when I'm doing any kind of bitmap stuff for Blitz basic sprites, Bobs, or in this case transparent, I usually do it this hideous pink just so it stands out, because I don't really use that for any of my bitmap work. Colour 1 needs to be, and of course we goes without saying, 0 is the first colour, 1 is the second colour. Colour 1 is white, or as near to white as you can get, because bear in mind you've got all of these colours to work with. I'm just going to highlight the ones that you can't. So you still got quite a few to produce something gorgeous. Then we've got a pink, a worm pink here. You can make it fluorescent green if you want, and have some kind of you know, glow in the dark worms if you want, but it may affect some other parts of the palette that the game picks for other objects. Colour 3 can be anything, and then colour 4 has to be a lighter shade of colour 3. I think colour 5 is then what is used for the mines, so any landmines that are laid around, and girders, and the boxes that fall from the sky, the power-up boxes. They use colour 5 and colour 6, which is a lighter version of colour 5. But then, anything from 7 to 15, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, they can be anything you want. So you do have quite a few colours to work with for yourself there. And like I said earlier, the palette has to be shared across them. By no means look at this and think, amipal, you're some kind of graphical genius. I have been kind of creating the layout for a while, trying to work out a new custom level, and then I thought, do you know what, this would be an ideal one to use as an example for people on the channel. So yeah, I haven't really gone too crazy with it, and you'll probably see plenty of areas where it can be improved, or you'll think, well, that doesn't make sense, you know. But again, comments. So there we go. When you save these, one thing I have to say is make sure that the stencil is off. So in P-Paint here, you do that. It's not on at the moment, there's nothing done anyway, so we're fine. But an issue I had with this earlier when I was kind of setting up examples, etc., was that the actual image looked horribly corrupt when I ran it through the program to kind of put it all together. So ensure it's off. One thing I also did was I think I resaved them in Deluxe Paint, just in case that was the issue, but it's probably not. It's probably the stencil where I tripped up. So we've got our files. We then go into WormsDC. TW Custom is where I saved my IFFs. There we go. They're all in there nicely. You want to run WormsPrefs. Okay, now we've got 3 buttons in here. Edit Custom Level, this is what we're going to be doing. There's Edit Landscape, where I believe you can create a custom tile set. So whereas ordinarily when Worms randomly generates landscapes for Alps, desert, Mars, that sort of thing, you can create your own tile set and do something similar. I haven't found there's nothing in the manual for what you need to set up for that, and I haven't found anything online either. Similarly, edit mountains, you can create your own mountain set, which I'd love to do for this, but again, I haven't found anything online for creating custom mountains. So if you've any experience with that, I would love to hear your comments. If you could just pop them in the comments below. Anyway, we're going to edit custom level. Okay, now you'll see right at the top here it says press return to confirm each entry. I cannot stress that enough. The amount of times I've gone through all the rigmarole of putting everything in, keying stuff in, selecting files, etc., just for it to then say no file name entered, and you think, I did all of that. But no, you have to. We'll call this one Necromunda, because that's what I've based it on. It's the underhive. It's Necromunda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that might be too long actually. Hold on. Doesn't say anything about file name length, so we'll just leave it as Necromunda and we'll hope that that's fine. Okay, so again, I've hit enter. Now, dual layer, well, yes it is. You can do it so that it's just one image, but I've gone to the enter. I've gone to the trouble of doing a background and a foreground for this, so we're going to use them. Enter. You can have it so that your explosions don't damage the background, but you know, we've got bazookas and holy hand grenades and banana bombs flying around. I think we're going to go boom. These sliders allow you to adjust the strength of gravity and how far your worms slide on the landscape. I'll leave them as is for now. Quote, battle in the underhive. Underhive. Again, enter. That's what pops up when you first open the level. That is enough to create your level. Okay, so I'm going to click save now, and I'll go through some of the other sections in a minute, but we'll start the game and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we start Worms DC. I've selected my teams and we've gone into the game. I've hit the right mouse button to bring up this dialogue here. Now, we called our game Necromunda. So there we go. You saw the message up at the bottom there saying battling the underhive. If I press space to play, here we are. So you can see that the background is there. It's giving it water by default. Oh, we can fire through that. There's a good example of where it blows up and shows the background. Okay. And here you can see that the mines are the correct colour, the worms the correct colour, the text is right. Let's do that. It's worked fine. As you destroy more and more of the landscape, you might find that the holes appear, but that's fine. I'm just going to hit escape now, just so we can get back and I can show you some of the other options and what they look like. Yeah, let's quit. So I've gone back into the WormsPrefs and gone into edit custom level data. You can't open one you previously opened, so you can't edit one that you previously made, shall I say. So I've set up the same settings that I had before, destroy background. We're going to change the mountains to something else. Let's go for hell. Okay. And we'll go for gloop instead. Okay. So if I hit save there, I'm not actually going to do it because I've already created this one and I don't want to overwrite it, but we'll save and then we'll go back into the level and I'll show you the difference. So this one was called Necromunda. M for mountains. Supposed to play. Right, so you notice I selected gloop for the bottom there, and the mountains are now this lovely kind of hellish landscape rather than the standard mountains that were on there before. You got basically all the mountains that are available for the normal tile sets. So there's desert, there's mountains, there's toys, I think, and some of these other ones. Some will be more effective with the level you create than others. You don't even need to include mountains, really, particularly if you've made a level that completely obscures the background. I've got gloop here. You can have fire, you can have water. I think the default is water, but that's one thing you need to contend with. You need to bear in mind that the water or fire, etc., will come up a certain distance. So you need to make sure that you leave probably 50 pixels or so from the bottom before you start making tunnels and things, because the game won't spawn worms inside the water. But equally, you don't want worms deployed so close to the water that they're pretty much fair game as soon as you start playing. So yeah, that's how that looks. Let's see about changing the sky, because, well, actually I did change the sky here. So I'll just go back into the press program and I'll show you exactly what I did. But first of all, I'm just going to go put some bazooka up there. Take out, I think that was Charles. Don't know. It's my DS19. One of the great things about Worms Director's Cut is the fact that all of Workbench just remains open while you play it. So I mean, I didn't even need to come out of this. It's pretty cool. So I can show you the example. Custom Sky. Yeah, this is quite powerful. You saw previously that it's the standard kind of copper gradient that it puts in there, and this allows you to have different colors for your zenith, so the absolute top of the image, which I think I went for something like 255 is the max, 0 is the min. So yeah, that, I mean, you don't see a color wheel or anything like that, but if you really want to try and work out what you need to set, you can obviously try and set up colours in P-Paint and just mirror the numbers across between them if you really want to finesse it. But this 255, 128 on the green and blue will create kind of a nice turquoise. And then I think I went for 0 on red again, and then I think I went towards more of just a less greeny turquoise on the horizon. But I mean, you could have it going straight down to black or whatever, is up to you. Another thing you can do is add in custom palettes for your mountains and also for your water type. These I don't know enough about to inform you. That might not even be palette. That might actually be a different foreground image and a background image, but it seems superfluous when you can actually create your own mountain set file in the first place in the other part of the WormsPrefs. So yeah, you can set up a similar RGB custom colours for your gloop. Or is that just for water? I think that's just for water. So yeah, but it's water type. It must be for all three, mustn't it? Yeah, you can set up your own colours for those, and make it look nice. So yeah, that is how to create custom levels in Worms. It's quite powerful, isn't it? I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. As you can see, it's not tricky to make your own levels. The main limit really is your time and exactly how detailed you want to make your level. You can make very easy, simple levels that are monochrome if you want. But I think the main challenge is actually creating a level that works. It's very easy to make kind of like two, that works in the frame, doesn't it? Two kind of mountains at the side and you shoot over, but it's not very interesting. You need something that kind of like blocks your sight lines and you have to move around. Bit of strategy in there, you know. You want a level you're going to come back to again and again and not just go, oh, that was all right. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting. If I ever find out how to create custom tiles and custom mountains, I'll try and do an addendum to this video. But I mean, I've hunted high and low. There's nothing in the manual. There's nothing in the README files. I've done searches on English Amiga board. Maybe I'll give Andy Davidson a shout. It's been a long time since he made it. Maybe he remembers. Hopefully he does. But yeah, if you've got any questions about today's episode, please shout in the usual manner. Whether that's yelling at me in the street, giving me a message on Faceache, or you know, putting comments in YouTube like ordinary people would. But yes, thanks for watching. Cheers.